All right, let's get this over with, so I can get back to what I was doing. Good luck with, well, whatever.
Today, on Starfield Essentials, your weekly Starfield news report. In our first segment, a whole new world. Falkland Systems is here. Faction and Encounter Expansion Project. SSNN Sloop interview. In our second segment, Readable suit protection warnings. 10,000 mods on Nexus Mods. Homemade Starfield keyboard. And predicting the spin. My name is Richard. Let's get started. A whole new world. In my Take It to the Bank video, I talked about Souls of Cities. This is a mod by Laurent Kiar that completely transforms crowds. Due to technical concerns, Souls of Cities is only available for PC. This past week, prolific modder Zone79 released a mod that also changes NPCs in cities, and this one is console-friendly. Starfield Crowd Overhaul is 500 credits and is only available from the creation site. Supplementary creation, Starfield Crowd Faces, is free on Creations, and obviously relies on Starfield Crowd Overhaul. Starfield Crowd Overhaul, in my opinion, is just excellent, and that's why I called this video A Whole New World. Look at these NPCs, this is just amazing. Zone 79 has made it feel like we are looking at NPCs living in 2330, not 2030. One change involves the number of NPCs with some sort of augmented or virtual reality headset or goggles. Today we see many people walking through our world with their eyes on their phones. Within a few decades, we will probably see people wearing more AR and VR headsets as part of daily life. So, 300 years in the future, I would expect almost everyone to use some sort of augmented vision apparatus. You could argue most AR or VR would be miniaturized and invisible in the future, but that would not be very fun from a visual game perspective. The clothing choices also seem more futuristic. When I think of predicting future fashion, I often remember a show from my youth called Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. Check out these outfits. Boy, I was sure missing out when I was only 8 years old watching this show. I think a few Starfield mods might match this aesthetic. Anyway, I think Zone 79 has a better feel for the future than vanilla Starfield. These NPCs have been walking around New Atlantis, but we'll also take a look at Neon and Aquila City. Look at that group. That's so awesome. Those are just random NPCs, but their clothes have been changed. Hello, good job, NPCs. Let's take a quick look at NPCs on Neon. Check out that guy. I think some of the haircuts in this game are pretty cool too. That side part, there's a guy with a mohawk there. We got the green AR goggles. Pretty simple lady. Now that guy with the mask, that guy's rocking it. That's pretty cool. I spent a lot of time, this is really cut down and accelerated obviously, but I spent a lot of time just walking around talking to NPCs. Something that was pretty boring before because they looked pretty boring, but with this crowd overhaul, I think they're pretty cool. One of my favorites is coming up here. Check it out. We've got the Big Trouble in Little China hat lady. There's a bunch of those. You have to crouch down to take a look at them, but here we go. Look at this lady with the chunks visor. That's so great. And Aquila City has its own vibe as well. It's a little more down to earth, less flashy than Neon. I didn't go to other cities beyond this to record footage, but each location has something new to bring to it because of the crowd overhaul. So Zone 79, really like it. Now, one of the questions that I received was whether or not the outfits that are on these NPCs can be stolen. So I found an NPC on Neon and just did a random test. I checked his inventory and I started dropping items from the clothing set. And I wanted to see if I could pick up those items and put them on. So no new item. I dropped whatever that guy was wearing, and you can see his appearance has now changed, but I was not able to even find it in my inventory. And there, I dropped some more clothing, and it's gone. I try to see, you can pick it up, but you can't put it on. It doesn't appear in your own inventory. Now, probably one of the most interesting things here is that I'm using the crowd faces change as well. So you can interact with the NPC and basically strip him down. So there's the NPC with the vanilla face. So that's what we're looking at. Maybe we can ask Zone 79 if you can make some of that clothing available as a separate add-on for use by our players. Good job, Zone 79. Next, Falkland Systems is here. One of the most anticipated paid creations has arrived. Falkland Systems by Yalmir is available on Creations for 500 credits. This mod has a little something for everyone. To begin with, this creation adds a new location to New Atlantis, located in the commercial district. This is the home of Falkland Systems, a brand new ship manufacturer. I really love the aesthetic for this entire mod. The location, the ship parts, even the clothing, all fit together really well with this brown/orange color choice. You can approach this content in several ways. Those of you who like shipbuilding will probably want to talk to the local ship technician. You will find 3 new ships plus a slew of new components. I'm reproducing them on the screen here as a quick reference. If you spend a little time looking around the Falkland Systems location, you will discover a mini quest to gain access to locked rooms and find hidden treasures. For example, here is a room. I picked so many locks in this creation, it's not even funny. But check out all this cool clothing back here. This poncho and hat, and here's the spacesuit. I grabbed that. Check it out. There's the pack. There's the helmet. There's the spacesuit. Pretty cool. Love the aesthetic. Of course, I equipped my character with the baseball cap and the poncho. Oh, there's Robin Locke jumping in. And then you could basically take all this promotional material from different parts of the corporate offices, so I grabbed as many hats as I could. Let's get a look at the inside of one of the ships. This is the third most expensive ship. I decided I had plenty of credits. Why not buy it and take a look? Yes, that is a Starborn Wanderer as part of my crew. I think that's part of Bedlam. You can have a certain percentage chance that a companion, or not a companion, but a foe will be a Starborn Wanderer. So then I just whacked the Starborn Wanderer with the Axe of Friends, and now I have a Starborn Wanderer hanging around with me. But anyway, back to the ships. These habs are just gorgeous. Check these out. Like I said, that brown/orange theme is everywhere, and it's so distinctive, and whenever you're flying a ship by Falkland Systems, you'll recognize it immediately. I believe that's one of the interactive reactor units, which is so cool. I mean, really, really great creation, great vision, great execution by Yalmir on this creation. So if you're wondering whether it's worth the 500 credits, if you like the aesthetic, if you like supporting this type of work, which from what I understand took several months to develop, I would check it out. Look at that awesome seating area. That reminds me of something out of Star Wars, potentially. So great job, Yalmir. Speaking of support, thank you to everyone who is subscribed to this channel. Since last week, we have broken through the 4,000 subscriber level. 5,000 is our next goal. If you're watching this video, there's a better than 50% chance that you are not subscribed. Go ahead, sit down. Hit the subscribe button. Please consider subscribing to show YouTube that you support positive and honest Starfield content. Look at that, my character's just sitting at a corporate meeting. Oh, and Marika's sitting too. It's wonderful to hear from so many of you in the comments that you are glad you found this channel after months of big hate-tubers raging against Starfield and Bethesda. I'd like to offer special recognition to my 16 channel members, seen here. If you'd like to know more about membership, click the join button on the channel. This will show you information on membership with no obligation. Anything you and YouTube gives me goes back into this channel, whether it's to buy hard drives for capturing footage or acquiring creations to review. Thank you, everyone. Next, Faction and Encounter Expansion Project. This was a big week for overhauls to the game. Let's talk about a new creation by the Wolfie that adds 9 new factions to Starfield. Here's one of them, Blackguard Freestar Militia. The Faction and Encounter Expansion Project is available on Creations for 300 credits. There are several free additions to this creation that I recommend using. They include the Spacesuit Asset Pack, the Outfit Asset Pack, and a patch for the Forgotten Frontiers creation. You'll only need the last one if you are running Forgotten Frontiers, which I recommend. I covered Forgotten Frontiers in my Winning on Xbox video from December. When you buy Faction and Encounter Expansion, you gain access to 9 new factions. Here is a list for quick reference, with a snippet by the mod author for flavor. Now, strictly speaking, a few of these aren't new, and they may not look that much different in the field. However, I absolutely love these new factions. It is so fun to see something other than a pirate, ecliptic, maroon, or spacer when raiding a POI. Each of these new factions also has customized gear. Some of the gear is just a colorized version of existing equipment. That doesn't bother me though, because it is simply not the vanilla experience. It can be a little confusing because sometimes the name seems to match an old item, but the appearance is new. These new factions are available as mission board targets. Now sometimes here I'm picking a Kill the Outlaw Captain on Piazzi 5C. There's no indication that the Outlaw Captain will be one of these other factions. But once you get on the ground and you start running around and you find the target, here we can see these are Rogue Ryujin operatives. They're dressed that way. The first companion there is listed Rogue Ryujin Research Director. I'm going to send this one to the brig. Absolutely love Non-Lethal Framework and Useful Brigs by Korodic. You must have those mods. So we're going to do that. And here is the Outlaw Captain dressed as a Rogue Ryujin operative, one of the new factions in the game. My bottom line is I highly recommend this creation. For about $3 US, I think it's a bargain. I would love to see more factions added to Starfield. When there are new factions, even repeated locations are more interesting. I wonder who's there and what do they look like. This creation works really well with the Bedlam 2.0 mod that I mentioned in my Take It to the Bank video. Bedlam allows you to increase the probability of another faction assaulting a POI while you are there. This effectively increases the chances you will stumble upon another one of these new factions. Let me know if you try this creation and what you think of it. Next, SSNN Sloop interview. This is not a new encounter, but in my over 1,200 hours of play, it was the first time I had found the SSNN Sloop interview. And I'm stealing from the cargo hold of the reporter ship. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I will not spoil it. But if you want to skip this section entirely, please feel free to advance to the next story. The SSNN Sloop is a ship you can encounter in space. There's a news reporter on the vessel. She will ask you to board the sloop so that you can conduct an in-person interview. This was so fun! It was a short encounter, but it reminded me that there's so much to see and do in this game if you take a moment to look around. Have you found the sloop? Let me know in a comment. And incidentally, I added the reporter to my crew using the Axe of Friends. Next, Readable Suit Protection Warnings. I found a small free mod that you might like. It's called Readable Suit Protection Warnings by B. Herney. It's only on Nexus Mods. What this mod does is give you a visual warning when the environment is depleting your suit protection, along with a numerical percentage, and I put that in quotes. This is not strictly a percentage as far as I can tell. The script behind the mod is reporting when the env damage soak variable is reaching different thresholds. In my case, this value was almost 400 thanks to my gear's protective value. I did not get a 50% depletion warning when env damage soak reached 200 though. I got the 50% warning when my env damage soak hit 50. Maybe I should have rethought using this term over and over in the script. I messaged the mod author to ask if they could rephrase this warning to more accurately reflect the mechanic. Still, this mod helped me understand that there are some environments which actually respect suit protection values, while others are basically insta-destructive. For example, Venus is insta-destructive. As soon as you go outside, you start taking damage and you get a 5% warning immediately, and your suit is depleted. Whereas here on Mars, it is going down a little bit all the time. Depending on your game's environmental settings, you could start taking damage immediately or never, I suppose. Overall, I suggest adding this mod if you'd like a little better understanding of what's happening with your suit and environmental damage. By the way, this is the Mars Tower, and it's during a storm, and it looks like my Halo-themed oh, there we go, suit integrity at 20%. And if I check the value, it is now below 20. So that's how this mod works. Next, 10,000 mods on Nexus Mods. Last week, we passed a significant modding threshold for Starfield. There are now more than 10,000 entries for Starfield on Nexus Mods. Starfield is 11th in terms of mod count, with over 10,000. And Starfield is the 17th most downloaded game, with over 70 million downloads. I saw some salty comments on Reddit about this. some people complain that only, quote, real mods should count. They said, for example, that translations don't count, or pre-gens, or whatever. If you want to take a haircut to Starfield's numbers, then you should apply the same haircut to all the other mods listed on Nexus. And where would that leave us? With the same relative positions. I think it's a triumph that Starfield is doing so well, and we're only seeing more content, especially on the creation side. Yes, several of the creations profiled in this video are paid. I have no problem with that. If someone is going to work for months, alone or in a small group developing content, I think they should be free to charge for it. Some complain that Bethesda is promoting paid mods as a way to pad their bank accounts. We have no concrete numbers concerning how much Bethesda makes from each mod, but taking a cut is standard in every creative endeavor involving a publisher or distribution system. We all know that Apple takes a percentage from the App Store. Steam takes a percentage from its game sales. As an author, I earn a fraction of the cover price for any of my books. You would be shocked at how low royalty rates can be. It's why so many of us self-publish today, and we still pay Amazon or others. I'm okay with that. It's the cost of doing business. And yes, I did publish a book on stretching once upon a time, and these are not even all my books. Paid mods are not killing the free mod scene. Plenty of people continue to release free content. Maybe one day when I have enough time, I will do some kind of analysis of the ratio of paid to free content. Today at least, every single one of these 10,000 mods on Nexus are free. Good job, Starfield modders. If you'd like to see my exceptionally modest contribution to Nexus Mods, you can find an early version of some batch files I wrote. These will give you an idea of how I generate a level 60 character for testing. I will link it in the description. Next, homemade Starfield keyboard. Redditor AC Breaky posted pictures of a Starfield-themed keyboard that they created for fun. I asked if I could share the photos here, and I got approval. You know I enjoy when people express their creativity and channel it towards Starfield. Great work, AC Breaky. And finally, predicting the spin. If you've been watching the discourse around Starfield and have seen rumors of Starfield coming to the PlayStation, you may have sensed a shift in the narrative surrounding this game. There are still plenty of claims that Starfield has failed, or that it was unfinished, or that the developers were lazy, or that loading screens make it literally unplayable, or a dozen other nonsensical stories. I have been saying this for a while, but I want to be absolutely clear in this video. I think we're going to see the spin around Starfield change in 2025. The game probably dropping on the PlayStation is going to be a big factor. The, quote, Starfield is bad story is old news. Headlines dating back to late 2023 are not going to get as many clicks for RageTubers in 2025. They need a new narrative. Potential PlayStation players are going to want to see if they should play the game. We're already being deluged by these "Is Starfield worth playing?" posts on Reddit. Look at this comment I left 3 weeks ago, with a dozen of the same question from only 2 pages of Google search results over a 1-month period. So, what will the new narrative be? RageTubers, take note. I'm doing your homework for you. First, they will say something about Starfield having a cyberpunk-like redemption story. They will claim that Starfield was a buggy mess, like Cyberpunk 2077 was a buggy mess. This ignores the fact that there is no comparison between these two. Bethesda didn't have to remove Starfield for bugs, like what happened to Cyberpunk in 2019. And by the way, I have nothing against Cyberpunk. I'm playing it now. It's definitely a different game, but if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. Same thing with Starfield. Second, RageTubers will claim that only their pressure on Bethesda made the studio make any changes at all. You see, in their minds, you need to rail against a game for hours at a time in order to show true integrity against greedy corporations. RageTubers will claim that they are heroes for being so honest about the game. Third, RageTubers will say that the game was an incomplete, rushed job by lazy developers. Bethesda never intended to finish the game. Supposedly, Bethesda planned to just outsource development to modders, who have added to the game features that should have always been there. Also, expect some comment about Shattered Space just being overpriced cut content. RageTubers will claim that the creation story was really a way to make even more money, because Bethesda gets a piece of every mod that is supposedly needed to make Starfield playable. Finally, RageTubers will assert how important they are to future Bethesda titles like Fallout 5 and The Elder Scrolls 6. Without them to hold Bethesda accountable, how else will we avoid another bad game that wasted studio time and effort? There you go, RageTubers. I've done the toughest part of any video, writing the script. I expect to see this in my feed repeatedly over the next few months. Oh boy. What have you been doing in Starfield? Your insights make this channel a place for positive and honest discussion of this game. In addition to videos, I also post to the community tab for this channel on a daily basis. If you subscribe, you will see these posts in your YouTube feed. Also check out our membership options, and thank you always. Members, I had no idea we would get so many. Check out these guys. This is one of the road reunion operation. No, this might be the BIOC, I think. The BIOC operators. If you made it to this part of the video, please leave a comment with the name Aladdin. That's 1 L and 2 Ds. And that always makes me wonder, is it really Al-Adin? It probably is. Somebody who's smarter, leave a comment to that effect. Also, remember to ring the bell icon and select all notifications. Check out my other videos if you want to learn how to keep your ship by building it in the creation kit, or my thoughts on the game's 1-year anniversary. My name is Richard, and I will see you in the Starfield.